What's up, kids? David here with Solid X State. Got a little bit going on here about why atheism is a rotten bag of cherries. Atheism and the cosmological question and why the cherries are rotting on the vine. So the deal is, the naturalists have hoped, have set their hopes, have set their trust. Those who deem physical, natural phenomenon as the top of the hierarchy, that which is preeminent, that which describes, is descriptive of everything that is. Those that we will call the naturalists, they have set their heart, as it were. They have set their hopes on the notion that in time, the scientific method will prove how we came to be by naturalistic processes. How life came to be on this planet through naturalistic processes. But the problem seems to only be, as I suggested, the fruit of their hope seems to be rotting on the vine. As more time goes by, the evidence of such questions is not verifying, is not validating the notion that we all evolved from one primordial creature, that all life forms can be reduced down to one original life form, that all of nature, physical reality, can be reduced down to some primordial particle which everything else owes its existence. The evidence is to the contrary, the opposite. The more that we probe, the more that we dig, the more that we discover evidence to the contrary, the more that the problem becomes pregnant with doubt regarding the efficacy of naturalism, the applicability of naturalism as we look at the real world around us. So an example of this can be found in the question of the origin of life. The origin of life. And so, you can go to a university, you go into a physics classroom and you ask the teacher, how do you describe life? That teacher will tell you, life is determined by its molecular makeup, its shape, its chemical compounds, its chemical affinities, its bonds and interactions. This is what the physicist will tell you. You go into a biology classroom and you talk to the teacher and you say, hey teach, what would a chemist say in terms of defining life? What is life to a chemist? Well, the chemist would say, that life is about signals. Life is about coding. Life is about translation, transcription. Essentially, life is information processes. It is information, if you will. So here you have a conflict of terms in describing what is life. And in the discussion of the origin of life, no doubt one must understand what life is to talk about it. So as regards the physicist, is it possible that chemicals bonded with chemicals, that molecules in some primordial muck found themselves haphazardly arranged? Is that possible? I guess mud comes in all different colors. Sure, I'll give you that. But what about the information aspect of it? In what In what context has physical matter produced information? And yet what we see in reality is a reality defined by parameters, defined, if you will, by a language that has made judgment and distinction as to the specifics of the cosmos, the constants of nature are judgments. They have been decided upon as though some type of highly engineered system. Therein, information must be sourcing the judgment that has set the gravitational constant, that has set the cosmological constant, that has set the weak and strong nuclear force. So the question is, the burning question is, how can information arise out of nothing? How can a magnum opus arise from dust and dirt and a desert of emptiness? How can information spring from nothing? The truth is, we see it not in nature. We do not see information arising from nothing. If information did arise from nothing, and if life only needed a push, then one would imagine that there wouldn't just be one type of biological life form on the planet, DNA-based life. You think that if information just jumps into existence, that we would see all kinds of information-based life on the planet throughout the history of the planet. And yet we don't. We see one type of information-based life. As such, we see the cosmos also with a discriminatory distinction made to a certain type and a certain shape and a certain form that is preferred for the benefit, for the absolute benefit of living beings in the cosmos. You know, and here is the thing, is that as long as I have been alive, that those professing Christian faith have been put to the test and said, yo, dude, you guys are a bunch of mystics. You believe in things that can't be measured. You believe in things that can't be tested. You know, where is your proof? The thing, though, is that what we see in what we observe seems to overwhelmingly and reasonably suggest the idea that the world as we know it was born of a word, and that life as we know it was born of a choice in which the arrangement of things were chosen. The complex arrangement of things were set into motion. In Proverbs chapter 8, starting in verse 22, this is speaking about wisdom. Chapter 8 is about wisdom. And in verse 22, talking about wisdom, it says, "The Lord possessed me in the beginning of his way, before his works of old. I was set up from everlasting, from the beginning or ever the earth was. When there was no depths, I was brought forth. When there were no fountains abounding with water, before the mountains were settled, before the hills was I brought forth. While as yet he had not made the earth, nor the fields, nor the highest parts of the dust of the world. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he set a compass upon the face of the depth. When he established the clouds above. When he stretched out the fountains of the deep. When he gave the sea his decree, that the waters should not pass his commandment." That sounds like a constant, doesn't it? constant of nature, when God set a decree that the waters should not pass his commandment, when he appointed the fountains of the earth, then I was by him as one brought up with him. And I was daily his delight, rejoicing always before him, rejoicing in the habitable part of the earth. And my delight was with the sons of men. It would seem to me that given the weight of evidence that has accumulated over the years, it would seem to me that passages like this in the Bible are more reasonable than they ever have been. Passages like this are more palatable than they ever have been. In the book of John, the Gospel of John, it says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God." No doubt, the Bible suggests that the world that we see and life that we know was built on a word, was built on a language, was built by one awesome engineer who killed it every time, man. Boom. Yo, take care. God bless, guys. Check you out next time.